Hi, hello, my name is Benjamin Matt, and today I will be talking about Damien McCarthy's film HOKUM that released this year, 2026. Okay, well, this is just a little spoiler alert. Go watch the movie before you come watch this video because this video will include spoilers. So go now. Okay. Um, Now that you've watched the movie, we can talk about it. We can start off with my letterbox review as we always do. I actually just watched it today, literally like a couple hours ago, and my review specifically says, "Finally, a movie used the goat scream in a non-comedic way." I also love Adam Scott. 4 stars out of 5. So I actually went into it not really hearing much about it besides the premise of the movie. I didn't even watch the trailer, but I did not know anything about it. I did not know about the witch stuff. I didn't know the setting. I didn't know anything about the movie. I didn't know who or what the motive of this character was. So I went into it pretty blind. I didn't really watch any reviews on it. I just saw that on Rotten Tomatoes it had like a pretty high score on it. So I was intrigued. It was also on my watch list for a while because I have seen his movies before, and Caveat was pretty not disturbing, eerie. But after watching that and watching Hokum, I understand his vibe a lot more. It is very eerie. It is very conventional horror. Like there's a lot of he loves using jump scares. He loves a dark room. He loves a slow build up, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that he isn't trying to go up and beyond, but I think that he does a good job having like this like eerie sort of vibe. So with that being said, we can go into my pros. So actually, my pros of the film, I listed them off on my walk home after the movie. I love this. I'm on like a horror run because my last one was Obsession, and the one before that was The Mummy, and the one after this one, I'm hoping will be Backrooms. So I'm back on my horror grind. Okay, my pros. My number one thing was I love the cinematography. That was like something that just stood out to me. I love the scenes where it was the dumbwaiter, where like it was him looking down or it looking up and like whatever. That one was very cool. I think just the mise en scène of the staging of everything was very cool. And also to fit in with the cinematography. I don't know the symbolism behind these stills. I still need to watch like reviews and breakdowns of it. But I actually really liked the little still shots of the close up like cherubs and like baby faces. I know that it has to do something maybe with the lore of the witch of like the story that the grandpa was telling. It definitely all ties back to that, but I love it. I think that when they do those like close up shots of like a face or like a artwork, it usually is them signaling something to the audience. And I think it was one that like that reminds me of is the Mona Lisa in Glass Onion. How it always like goes onto her face, and it's like there's always that thing where it's like, oh, is the Mona Lisa smiling or is she frowning or is it what is it? I think the stills on her face fit with the storyline and like the way that Glass Onion was going. So I always love like something like that where they implement like something art like a sort of artwork to push their message forth. You know what I mean? It's just like I think it's very interesting. Another thing that I noted in the beginning of the movie was when he opened that box and there was a gun. And I immediately thought of Chekhov's gun. And I was like, that gun is probably going to come back. And it did, but not in the way that I expected them to bring it back because it was him who shot his mom, right? I think that's what it was. Or it's just like that gun, I'm pretty sure was the one that was used that shot his mom in the face. So, um, so it did return later on in the movie, just not used as like a plot device. Or I guess it was, but not like in the way that you would have thought that a Chekhov's gun usually goes off in a movie. So I think that was a very innovative way to use that sort of element. I like that. I think that was a very unique way to use Chekhov's gun. Okay, my other one was I think that the emotional connection was good with some of the characters. I think with Adam Scott's character, you definitely get annoyed by him, but as the movie goes on, you know that there's something deeper because he has this whole like connection with his parents. Even when he's spreading their ashes, he like carefully plants like his mom's around the tree, and then when he does his dad's, he just throws them. And I think it gives depth to his character so that in the end you're sort of rooting for him. I think that the character that I did have more of like a oh like sadness to was actually the like old guy. I forget his name. Jerry. I thought that Jerry's character, I was kind of sad that he died. I could see it coming because he was already like so beat up. I was like, there's no way that like if there is like this big fight, he's gonna make it. But I think that his when his character died, I was pretty sad because he was so like he was a very sweet guy. And like even like the whole rumor of him killing his wife, but like he explained how like it was like I had to do it because she was sick and whatever. I don't know. I love Jerry. Jerry was a very sweet character, and I think they built a good connection with that character. Same with Adam Scott's character, that you were rooting for them. And even in the end, when like Adam Scott gets saved, I was like, okay. Another thing that I love, I think that okay, I personally love folklore and mythology, and I think the use of Scotland, it's Scotland, right? Ireland, Ireland, not Scotland. Ireland, I know. Ireland has like a good, rich history of folklore and mythology, especially with things like witches. And I'm so happy that a movie is actually like utilizing that and not really trying to rewrite it. And by that I mean, I said this. I said the witch is conventional and classic. Her design and everything about her, it's pretty classic. Especially with her like whole relationship with children. I think that it's all like a very classic fairy tale. But I think it all works well. It doesn't try to be too out of the box. And what I'm thinking about this is the movie The Watchers by, I'm pretty sure, M. Night Shyamalan, where they have fairies in it. And when I watched it, it was the same thing. I didn't really know much about it. But when I watched it, I didn't know that they were fairies. Didn't know that like the big monster were fairies. And in the end, I was just so like, oh, this movie sucks. I didn't like The Watchers. But I think it's because they tried to take a folklore mythic being, and fairies are like a scary, historically scary monster. It's just that like modern retellings of it have made it to be more of a like, ooh, like so pretty Tinkerbell. But like historically, they are very, what's the word? Mischievous, sly, mean, annoying. And I guess M. Night Shyamalan wanted to go with that vibe. It's just that I think he tried to go too far out of the box where it just became like you're trying too hard. I remember this one thing. I think it was RuPaul who said it. It was like, why everyone trying to like reinvent the wheel? Why is everyone trying to reinvent the wheel? Like the wheel is fine. And like that's the thing. Like I think that this movie, yes, the witch is conventional. When me and my friends were talking about it after, they were saying like it's a very conventional witch, and I actually quite like that. And the reason why I like that is because it works well. It's not trying. It doesn't risk attempting to be too cool. You know what I mean? And I actually really like that. I like that it used folklore um that was accurate. Okay. Okay, here's a good one. So I was saying with this director, his movies do have a lot of jump scares. I remember with Caveat, ew, I was jumping. And my friend, she was actually saying, she was like, she just thought that some of the jump scares were a bit too cheap. Just that was like a personal thing for her. I do agree. I can understand how jump scares can come off as cheap thrills because it's a repetitive thing that a lot of horror movies do just to like get you. And I do like jump scares because they get me. I can see how they come off as cheap thrills, but I think that this movie still has a good usage or a good way of having horror elements that aren't just some jump scares. It does that one thing that a lot of movies do where it is something lingering in the back. They do that in Obsession. Pretty sure they do it in Mummy. They do it in It. They do it in so many modern horror movies. I was saying to my friends, I was like, I think that's honestly like what the mod or like the new type of jump scare to have something lingering in the back. I think it's pretty effective. And in this movie, it was actually really good. Like when he was walking and like she was right, like I think his mom was like right behind him, or like when he was twisting the screws and she was just standing there, hated it. And I think that they're very effective, and I think it works for this movie. I also think that the director just knows how to do that sort of eerie, creepy, horror, lingering kind of vibe, because that's what he did with Caveat, and I think that was portrayed in this one very well. And my last point was that I actually really like the element of ambiguity that they added. How in the end, the bellboy, I forget his name, he was like, "Oh, I actually spiked your drink." Like, okay, crazy. Um, and I wrote down, I said, I've heard theories before that drugs are a way to open your third eye, which is why it is looked down upon by society to hide what the actual truth is of like the world to us. That's why so many people are it was this whole conspiracy theory where like, oh, people don't want you to do drugs and they were banned for such a long time because it hides the truth of what everything is. And I was like, and it's a very like interesting theory. I'm surprised that a movie actually went in that direction. But I think it was a fun way to add ambiguity to Adam Scott's, I forget his character's name. I'm just gonna keep calling him Adam Scott. Adam Scott's character's experience because it offers a sense of ambiguity. It's just like, did it actually happen? Was that actually there? Maybe. But then that also is kind of funny because then that if that's the case, then that means that the grandpa trapped the witch in there on drugs. That means he was taking those shrooms too and saw the witch and trapped her there. Like he was the one who was like, "Don't go up there. There's a witch there." Maybe that means that you were on drugs. That means the grandpa was on shrooms. So I think that's kind of funny. But like, I think that element was fun to add. I don't think it needed to be added, but it was a fun element to add just to add some like, maybe this was real, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was all in his head, but it was cool. I think it was just a fun element. But anyways, I unfortunately do have some cons with the movie. I do, so we should get into that. So I said, for my first point, I said I wasn't a huge fan of the message with Adam's mom. Um, could have been done better. So Adam Scott like has this whole like backstory of like his mom and like everything that happened in his past. I'm pretty sure it was like he shot his mom in the face by accident. His dad got so like depressive and drunk about it. But I think it could have been done better. I think that it was definitely a great message. I think it's very fun and it's very it's just a bit too cliche for a horror movie. I'm so sorry. It's like, did it need it? Sure, I guess. I just get so annoyed with like movies trying to be so like we have a message too. And it's like, okay, like it's a cool message to have. It's just that grief is such a, it's been done so many times before. The Babadook has already done it and it's been so good. And it's just like, I'm kind of sick of it. Sorry, I'm kind of sick of it. I think it could have been done so much better, or it could have had a whole different meaning. Um, that's just my opinion. I think like even the part where he like sees his mom and she's like holding him and whatever, and he's like, I didn't mean to, whatever. It was just a bit too cheesy. It was a bit too cheesy, and it felt a little out of place for me. I don't know. Like, I just didn't really like that element of the movie. And my other one was I wasn't a huge fan of the story that he was writing. Maybe that's just a me thing. I liked the opening. I was like, oh, this is cool. But the ending was just a bit too like kumbaya for me. Maybe that's mean, but like it just seems like I don't know. I think it was a cool way to open the movie. I didn't really care for it once the movie ended. At that point, I was just like, okay, I'm happy that he escaped. I don't need to see this. That's just one thing. And then my other 2 points was just like I wish that the grandpa was in it more, just because he knows so much about like the witch and everything. I feel like him being in the movie more would have been so fun. He's just like a cool cat. Like he's like a fun character to see, and I liked his like his voice. It was just so cool. Or like he's just like I don't know. I like the grandpa. And then my other thing was that I wish that the opening was explained better. Like, who the hell was that kid pointing at the box? I also was just like, why all of a sudden does he want to like go to this place? Like, what is the reason for that? Is it because he has like a like writer's block? I think it could have been explained a little bit better. Like, I know that he went to go there to spread his mom's and dad's ashes, but it was just like, why now? Like, because he has writer's block, or like what? So I don't know. And then yeah, that's pretty much it for my cons. I don't have money. I have more than like other movies that I've really liked. I didn't really like this movie. It's just that there are some things that I found a bit annoying, but I can gloss over those. I can gloss over them. That's why I gave it 4 stars out of 5. If those affected me too much, I would have probably given it like a 3. But like I liked it enough. So okay. So like overall, let me read my thing. I said overall the film is a great modern horror film that isn't too pretentious in a way that creates a clusterfuck of horror elements. Good balance of pacing, but I do think that there could have been a better explanation for some elements. How did Fiona die? The backstory of the witch and the grandpa, maybe some more witch lore. That was just like some things that like I think that some explaining could be beneficial, but maybe that's to add to the whole ambiguous element that they wanted to portray. But like I think it's a pretty good horror movie, and it deserves its flowers. Don't know if it'll win like a lot of awards, but I do think that visually it is a great horror movie. Um I recommend that you go watch it. Go watch it. I think go watch it if you're a horror fan. If you're not, I don't think you'd have like a huge appreciation for it. But yeah, goodbye.